the time in the builder, I asked a few content creators at Community Day about lockdowns. As I like to make some lockdown builds here and there, we wanted to end up developing a lockdown build at a certain height to actually be playable for you to play multiple game modes. Now, as of trying different heights of a 6'4" from last year, a 6'5", 6'6", and even 6'7", it seemed like one of the best heights to end up choosing was a 6'6" lockdown at small forward. And playing around with the wingspan of 6'10", 6'11", and even max wingspan of 7 foot, I ended up going to show y'all two different versions of these 6'6" lockdown builds, from one that actually Hall of Fame or Legend set shot specialist on the build, while also another one being more of a pure lockdown build with high steal, high perimeter, and still can get the job done all around. Before the first build, we're going to be on this 6'6", 220 pounds with a 6'11" wingspan, but this is going to end up being a small forward. I know y'all see shooting guard, but the best position to put this at is at small forward. That's where most lockdowns are placed. But for the build, we're going to be, as making this build, be able to play some defense around the perimeter and be able to get lane steals and things like that. But also, we're going to be focusing on the shooting aspect of this build. I made sure that this build was going to be able to get standing dunks, regular driving dunks, unlocking that Devin Booker dunk package, as this year you need a 75 driving dunk, not an 80. But then we got to the perimeter, where I put a 92 perimeter on this build for a reason, as of being able to get challenger, on ball menace, pick dodger, and immovable force on goal while having an 85 strength. Now when it comes to the steal, I could go 85 so we can get the interceptor on goal and we can save some attributes, but we're on a lockdown build, so you want to go at least bare minimum 91. But the other option is you could go 94 and get interceptor on Hall of Fame and use your +2 cap breakers, get 96 so you can get Hall of Fame glove as well. But also, if you want to set it up for future cap breakers, you can just stop at 94 steal on this build, so you can use +5 cap breakers if you end up getting to that rep to unlock those cap breakers, and you can have a 99 still on this build. But for the interior defense, we wanted a 60 interior defense for you get paint patroller on bronze, but also we have a 68 block so you can get high fly denier on bronze. You can get it to a 74, but you're gonna have to sacrifice a few things. I end up making sure this build had a defensive rebounder, mostly on the offensive end, because if you do come out the corner and you want to get a rebound and if your center can't get it, at least you got some type of help and be able to get the rating to get a few rebounds here and there. But when it comes to the shooting aspect, now this is where my specialization will be working on. Putting specialization on shooting will finesse the system, especially on a build like this, or you can wait until you get more cap breakers in the future. But as it is, I can get an 80, I can get a 90 mid-range on this build. But I'm going to stop it at 87 so I can get shifty shooter, dead eye, set shot specialist all on silver. Now with my max +1s and max +2s, I can use those until then, until I get +2 cap breakers for my specialization to get an 89 mid-range. And with the 89 mid-range, we're going to get set shot specialist on goal. Now with us having set shot specialists on goal and unlocking those specialization max +1s and max +2s, I will be able to get set shot specialist on legend on this build once I use those max +2s on this, as my set shot is on goal to legend set shot specialist. And I can end up using one of my max +1s for my specialization, most likely on Deadeye or even shifty shooter, but I'll mostly pick Deadeye just in case you get some of them shots in the corner and somebody end up contesting. You got gold Deadeye, and then you got set shot specialist on legend on a lockdown build that's shooting out the corner or even around the perimeter. And with the 3-pointer you got a 77 3-pointer. That's enough to knock down shots. But also, if you do want to use future cap breakers and things like that, you can also put +3 there. So now you unlock sharp takeover to get 3 and D take if you're not using vice take. Now look, with the way it's set up, you can do so many crazy things, because now I made sure that this build can unlock every motion style. We got 87 speed and 87 agility. Even if you want to end up tweaking a few things, you can. And I end up putting 75 vertical, nothing too crazy, but 75 vertical so we can still get some decent blocks, contests, and stuff like that, and grab boards. But when it comes to the finishing aspect, I want a 73 close shots so we can get paint prodigy on bronze. But as my layup, I got layup mixer on bronze as well. And then for my driving, I made sure to go with a 75 driving to get that Devin Booker dunk package and a few other dunk packages that you unlock. Now with the standing dunk, cooler 60, nothing too crazy, it gets the job done. For the playmaking, I made sure we got a 75 pass act. Most of the time you're going to see lockdowns, they're not going to have a high pass act. They're going to float between the 65s, the 60s, even 50s based on what game mode they're playing. And when it comes to the speed of ball, we got a 72 speed of ball. I wanted to lower this a little bit more, but it wouldn't let me because my agility is that high as well. Now look, when it comes to these max +1s and max +2s, I already told you what I'm using my max +1s and max +2 specialization on, my shooting. So I can get set shot specialist on go with my cap breakers. And then I will be able to get set shot specialist on legend once I use it as my max +2 and use Deadeye max +1 to get it on gold. But as of other badges, I can end up getting my on ball menace on Hall of Fame or legend, or I can end up getting my interceptor on Hall of Fame or legend if you don't decide going with a 94 still off rip. Now when it comes to the tier 2s, now look, with the tier 2s you can finesse a few things because you got a movable force. You can get the legend a movable force, or you can get Hall of Fame a movable force, but also you can get badges like High Fly Denier, or Layup Mixer, or even Paint Prodigy, or even Pogo Stick for your build. Ace, maybe a slippery off ball if you really one of those lockdowns that are trying to go crazy on the off ball, but most likely the slippery off ball on gold is going to be the one that gets the job done. Now as you look at this build, it can do almost everything you needed to do. It's going to be able to shoot, and it's going to be able to play defense. As you tweak a few things, like I told you, you can go 94 still to get interceptor on Hall of Fame. You can grab rebounds, especially offensive boards, so you can have a decent rate. Then when it comes to dunking, you got a 75 dunk, you get Devin Booker dunk package, you get athletic hangs off one, you get a few great dunk packages on that. Then you got a 60 standing, 67, and definitely get the job done, other than lockdowns going with a 45, 50 standing dunk. Then you got a above average speed. I would recommend to try to at least get to a 90 speed or a 90 agility, but you're gonna have to sacrifice a little bit more as a maybe like a vertical or even pass sack if you're gonna do that. If you're gonna do that, you can go 70 pass sack, but for my sake, I prefer having at least a bare minimum 75 pass sack on most of my builds in general. But if you feel like you want to end up using your specialist on defense, like I told you, go for that 94 steal off rip. Go for 94 steal. When you unlock those +2 cap breakers from your specialization, get it to 96 and you get that Hall of Fame glove as well. But we don't know if glove is actually worth using in NBA 2K26, but most likely interceptor is that badge right now. Interceptor in them lanes is really actually nice, and you can get them, especially if you got that gold and you got a decent steal rating. But even having an 85 steal, you can get them lanes. So just imagine having a 94 steal with Hall of Fame interceptor. You want to be in them lanes, especially if they get them passes. People with 65 pass accuracy trying to throw those dots across the court, they're going to be easy steals, easy lanes almost every single time. Now with this build being 6'6", 220 with a 6'11 wingspan, I showed you how you could really finesse this with using your specialization on shooting, because you could really turn into a sharpshooter with having that legend set side specialist. But we end up getting shades of Ron Artest, Kobe Bryant, and Doug Christie, as you get called a two-way mid-range bully, and your actual qualities on this build for top rating is a perimeter, steal, and mid-range. Now the weaknesses is nothing too crazy for this build, as likely I'm not going to be really being a ball handler, dribbling, so that's going to be my weakness on these builds. But I'm still going to be able to pass the ball, shoot the ball, play defense, and dunk the ball. But when it comes to my go-to badges, we got off-ball pass, challenger, and glove, and most likely those will be ramped up once I use max +1s and max +2s. Now when it comes to this next build, Spam end up creating a pure lockdown 6'6". This is a 6'6", 230 pounds with a 6'10 wingspan. Now he ended up doing this. I was kind of confused with which way he was going with this until I paid attention to his perimeter defense. His perimeter defense is OD, his steal is OD. So you're gonna be basically with a 99 perimeter D on this build, and you're gonna have a 96 steal. Now with this being, you're gonna have that interceptor on Hall of Fame, that glove on Hall of Fame. Their perimeter defense, almost everything is going to be on Hall of Fame on this build when it comes to playing defense, other than when it comes to being interiorized. Like you got a 65 interior, you got a 74 blocks, and you get High Fly Denier, and you'll be able to get Paint Patroller. Then we got the shooting. The shooting aspect, I prefer if you want to end up specializing something, it will be shooting again. Shooting or defense. But I feel like it's really no point in you specializing defense on this build, since most of the defensive badges are going to be Hall of Fame, and you can just use your max +1s and max +2s. But if you want to aim on certain badges in your defensive category and you don't want to have to worry about a tier 1, tier 2, then you specialize in that. But as of his shooting, he got a 78 3-pointer. Like I told you, 78, 77 still gets the job done, just like NBA 2K25, and it might be even better, to be honest. But we got an 85 mid-range. He's going to get Deadeye on silver. He's going to get set shot specialist on silver. With his max +1s and his max +2s, he's going to end up possibly getting set shot specialist on gold or Hall of Fame based on where you place him. But when the main thing that caught my eye that I feel like it should be changed is with his agility and speed. His agility and speed, I feel like it is too low, especially being a pure lockdown. This should be at least at the 89-90 threshold of being somewhat of a pure lock on this game. Because you might have to chase somebody with a 91 speed with ball, and y'all seen the Caitlin Clark, Stephen Curry gameplay. If your speed is not somewhat equivalent to somebody with a high speed with ball, you will get left You will literally get blown right past, and it's going to be hard to chase around them. But when it comes to this playmaking, he does play pro-am. Most of the time, they're not going to throw no fast breaks. They're not throwing break starters. So you're going to see all the time they're going to end up having like a 50, like I told y'all before, a 50, 65 pass, maybe a bare minimum 70. But when it comes to the dunk, he got a 65 driving dunk, a 40 stand-in. With the 65 driving dunk, he do get athletic hangs off one and a few other dunk packages, Klay Thompson and stuff like that. But the shades he got Kawhi Leonard and Ron Artest, and that's a crazy combination, to be honest. This is what more likely you're going to see as a pure lockdown. And his main two weaknesses is him dunking the ball and him passing the ball. But as you get an idea of what the pure lock will look like, you can end up tweaking a few things that you see that can be changed. I like the build, it just need a few changes. I feel like passing and the dunk is a little bit too low, but I feel like I can get the job done. But in the comment section, let me know down below, which build did you like the best? Did you like the build that can get set shot specialists on legend while having still Hall of Fame and gold defensive badges? Or you like the Hall of Fame that can get legend defensive badges in the future with decent shooting? But hey man, I'm gonna see y'all boys in the next one. Make sure y'all boys drop a like, make sure y'all boys subscribe. Hey, check out the video on the screen, and I'm gone.